welcome to Season 3, Part 2. This is Episode 2, where we're discussing the ESTP, Subconscious Developed Judging Male, also known as the Subconscious Developed Unconscious Focused Male. In terms of the Octagram, this is Octagram 4.2, where we're going to be going through all of the cognitive functions. Today's presentation is about a particular gentleman by the name of Caveman. We're going to be discussing Caveman and his behavior because this is what we call caveman-like behavior. Now, just remind yourselves that this is based on cognitive senses, which is Jung's cognitive sense model. And each of the 8 cognitive functions actually applies directly to intuition, thinking, feeling, and sensing as that for your 8-function stack. Remember, pluses and minus are optimistic versus pessimistic functions. Pessimistic functions are used more in a negative light versus optimistic functions are used more in a positive light. The ESTP, also known as the persuader, traditionally also known as the gladiator, to be more modern approach. The temple is they are part of the soul temple, which means they're pretty reasonable people. However, they are very dishonorable and disrespectful. And their quadra is the Templar, which means they have fear of being excluded, so it is what it is. And the warrior archetype for their gender archetype, which means they're all about mastery of skill, which is pretty awesome. And we have the nature and the nurture side naturally, and we're just going to get down to it. So remember, folks, our cognitive attitudes have changed. They are completely new. This is based on John Beebe's model within energies and patterns of psychological type, which is pretty awesome. You have Extraverted Sensing Hero, you have Introverted Thinking Parent, you have Extraverted Feeling Child, you have Introverted Intuition Aspirant, Introverted Sensing Nemesis, Extraverted Thinking Grandfather, Introverted Feeling Trickster, and Extraverted Intuition Angel. Notice there's not really a demon function there anymore. This is very important stuff. It's hero. So basically, anytime you see an I here, that means it is intrinsic. Every time you see an E here, that is extrinsic. The E represents maturity, and the I represents immaturity, essentially, in terms of how these functions are structured. And based on whether or not they are immature or mature will determine which of the cognitive attitudes they actually are, which is pretty simple. Then we have the functional roles right here. So this hero function has a neglectful passive role. So the hero is active, the neglect is passive, this is active, this is passive, active, passive, active, passive, active, passive, okay? Please don't forget that, okay? Active versus passive. The parent function is actually pretty selfish. This child function, which is all about their innocence, is where they need to have their certainty. This is where they are aspiring, and they do this as a preventative measure. Their nemesis, which is the thing that they kind of worry about the most. This is what they end up demanding from themselves and others in order to satisfy their worry. Grandfather is kind of where their wisdom exists as a very helpful grandfather, but this is a defenseless grandfather. He definitely needs to be taken care of in his old age. And then we have the trickster function, which they are completely unaware of, and they often sacrifice their unawareness and basically their ability to have mastery potential so that they can fulfill their angelic idealism. Okay, so that's where it all comes down to, right? These are the cognitive functions, although I just realized as of now that I neglected to write the other remaining pieces, but who gives a shit? I'll just go through it anyway. So, okay. So extroverted sensing, it's all about competence, and it's kind of immature because it's a hero. It's all about trying to be competently heroic. Remember, the hero is all about, hey, look at what I can do. They're not doing things for the sake of duty. They're doing things for the sake of praise, basically. So, and because it is intrinsic, it's all about themselves, basically. So they like to be praised for their competence because they want to be very competent, and they hold themselves to a higher standard of competence, except they are passively neglectful, and they oftentimes are passively neglectful about their own competence. And this can actually lead to incompetence, and it's not really the function that matters much to them in the process. And their introverted thinking parent, which is all about their logical parent, they want to be the selfish person that solves basically all of the problems. Yay! You know, so that ends up basically coming out as hubris. These people are insanely prideful, like to the point where it's annoying as fuck. Okay, insanely prideful. Okay, and then we have their child innocence. They want to be valued by others versus the TI parent in the selfish lots. They selfishly expect everyone else to listen to them, basically. Versus they're kind of neglectful of other people trying to assist them with their competence. They don't really care about their own competence as much. It's kind of like acting like a trickster function almost, if you think about it. And then you have all about other people's desires, and they actually aspire to give other people's desires, and they do this as a safety measure. Okay. They do this as a safety measure. So in order to protect themselves, they're all about trying to give other people choices, or actually give other people what they want, not choices. Trying to give other people what they want, and they aspire to do so. And it's like, yes, I'm literally telling you about the kind of ESTP that is not afraid of not having their freedom of choice. It's more that they are going out of their way to give other people what they want and not as focused on what they want. And they do that to prevent things, thus to protect their ego in the process. And other people valuing me gives me certainty in life. That's kind of how these people work. They need that certainty in life because other people are valuing me, because it's intrinsic. They're pulling in the value from other people, because extroverted feeling is all about value. Introverted thinking, once again, is all about thoughts, and it's all about everyone else's thoughts. And they need to parent everyone else's thoughts, and everyone else has to listen to them, basically. And so this extrinsic introverted intuition, which is all about what other people desire, and they're aspiring to give other people what they want so that they can prevent themselves from being messed with, basically. It's all about that. And yet it kind of comes off a little fake sometimes, let's be honest. And then this is what they demand the most, which is their own personal comfort and safety. Could you imagine an ESTP who is supposed to be the most masculine of the types, but Caveman here definitely wants to selfishly, because he's so worried that he's not going to feel safe. He's so worried that he's not going to feel comfortable, right? And it's like, hey, man, I thought you're an ESTP. I mean, you're like supposed to be the most manly of all of us. Yet he's not acting like a man. He's kind of acting like a woman because he's worried that he's not going to be very comfortable. So he has the expectation that everybody else around him makes him comfortable because it's intrinsic. So he's pulling in comfort. He's pulling in familiarity from other people. Remember, NI is desire and SI is familiarity. He's trying to pull in familiarity. He's trying to pull in comfort, good vibes from other people. And he demands this from other people because he's worried. He's worried about it. So he has to demand it. In this case, this is Nemesis demanding. Okay, I feel really bad for SDJ ESTPs. I couldn't imagine having that insane anxiety in their head all the time, but that's what happens. And then their defenseless function, which is dealing with other people's goals. For example, it's the old man, it's the old grandfather, always wanting to be in the position to help other people achieve, and then they feel really bad about themselves if they're not able to do that. And, because it's all about helping other people reach their goals. And honestly, they feel like that I can't, so they end up losing confidence here. Caveman goes to the gym and is trying to help other people lose body fat and gain muscle and improve their performance and be able to meet their goals. But then he consistently realizes that he kind of sucks at that, and it actually creates an insane amount of depression. It's also the fastest way to trigger Caveman because this is his defenseless function, where you basically inform him that he is incapable and lacks the competence because he's neglecting his own competence. He lacks the ability to competently help people reach their goals, because helping people, which is extrinsic goals, other people's goals, right? Like an old man, and he's defenseless about it. He's a defenseless old man, trying to give people advice to reach their goals. That probably means that, this ESTP is actually giving people, really old advice, right? And it's hella annoying, and yet he has no fucking clue that he's doing this. Yay! You see what I'm saying? But, it's not conscious, right? The defenseless function is in the unconscious, because this is the ego, people, okay? So goals, remember familiarity goals? What is FI? It is principles. Principles, also known as rules, also known as the law of the mind. And he's all about other people setting up rules for him. But sometimes he kind of throws the rules out and he's kind of unaware of rules, and he kind of throws it out because he doesn't give a shit. And because of that, he's willing to break rules in order to free other people, which he believes is his angelic form. And he's trying to do it idealistically. So he's going to sacrifice his own personal rules and other people's ability to help him shape his own principles, shape his own rules, shape his own self-laws in order to give other people freedom of choice, essentially, right? You see what I'm saying? That's what he is trying to do. And then he does this with loyalty, to the point that this ESTP actually could be taken advantage of in this area where they find themselves being loyal to the wrong people, and those people are going to sell them downriver, kind of like some guy influencing the ESTP in such a way where he's going to end up inadvertently, unintentionally committing hate crimes in downtown by, handing out propaganda that is illegal and can get him in serious trouble, which that is a big problem. And that happens because of extrinsic, extrovert intuition, angel, which is all about other people's choices. So he does, and so he gives loyalty to other people idealistically, and it can be easily taken advantage of to do that because it's the lowest awareness in his head. Do not forget the frames per second in terms of awareness are actually happening, but also remember that the demanding function is still, at the end of the day, the function that is the most frequently used. It may have, it doesn't have, this is like what? This is like 20 frames per second based on the old model. You guys want to like watch season 1 all over again, you know what I'm saying? But like, hey, that's how it is. 100 frames, 75 frames, 50 frames, 25 frames, 20 frames, 15 frames, 10 frames, 5 frames. You see what I'm saying? And that 5 frames per second means that angel can be very, very much taken advantage. And they're hella strong. The angel is super mega powerful, and they can get shit done as a result of showing loyalty to other people, because extroverted intuition is actually where loyalty is, not extroverted sensing, like what we originally believed. Extroverted sensing is competence, also known as skill. You see what I'm saying, folks? And so, yeah. By the way, if you want to know who is compatible with the ESTP, subconscious developed judging male, you need to go to school.com/CS Joseph and sign up. It's only $29 a month. We have a lot of paid courses. You get your free course, which is how to personality type yourself, that you get after you sign up. But if you want to get more than that, just upgrade to premium, and then you get all of the courses, or you can just buy them piecemeal as you want, although some of them can be like $300, so just like watch out for that. But yeah, so... Also, what other behaviors does the ESTP, subconscious developed judging male, actually have? Let's see here. We already talked about hubris. Wow, they kind of have a tendency of like trying to act like they're, very good at judgment and decision making, but all their judgment and decision making is based on groupthink. Wow. Or perceived authority. Wow. And they always want to be the person to investigate every little detail and then subject everyone to their really shit judgment after the fact. That's great. Oh, and they're the stoic. They try so hard to like literally endure everything, and they actually demand from themselves, because it's intrinsic with their familiarity, where their personal strength and stamina and fortitude comes from. They really go out of their way to be able to endure everything, and they actually pride themselves on being able to endure a lot, and that also kind of leads them to being taken advantage of. Rightfully so, because I can't stand these people. And then there is, the fact that they're a very energizing force, and they like to host parties and they like to host gatherings. That's pretty cool, right? But even though they do that, they're kind of private. They don't really want to talk about their feelings. They're the perceived strong, silent type, even though he's actually kind of a cuck and does not actually want to get in any confrontation whatsoever, and very much just would let the children do whatever they want and makes decisions based on what he sees in the moment and does not really rely on past experience for anything. And he loves showing special treatment to others. Very much cares about character, is actually affiliative. If you wanted to see an affiliative ESTP who's all about doing the right thing, here he is. I feel so bad for him. Definitely an absolutist, which means this person has no fucking clue what nuance even is. They never ask themselves the question, what if? Like literally ever. To the point that it's really fucking annoying. So yeah, that's a thing. And then After that, also, let's see. Oh, they really struggle with loneliness, and because they struggle with loneliness, oftentimes they go to other people to find out what they're doing all the time because they cannot deal with their loneliness. And as they are on their path to skill mastery, they're kind of really masochistic about it because, like I said, they're always trying to endure everything all the time, which is not necessarily a good thing in all cases. So, anyway, folks, that's it for the ESTP Subconscious Developed Judging Male. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.